I'm happy to then wrap things up. So thank you again to Scott, to Roberto, and to Alex for taking the time to share their case studies. Just a reminder to everyone, on the CWC website, we do have a CHP 360 segment where we have a lot of case studies that we're collecting into a nice repository of good examples of cogeneration around the world, different technologies, different applications, and different fuels, of course. And I think Alex made an excellent point in his presentation that the future isn't just CHP, but it's the integration of the energy system, tying it together with renewables, using the CO2, if and when every situation is different, the local situation, you have to take into account what are the available resources, and then tying everything in together in terms of electricity, heat, gas, renewable energies, and so forth. So there's a lot of plug and play, and there's a lot of opportunities in terms of really maximizing and using the energy that we have available to us in the most efficient way possible. So that was very good and very interesting to hear from all three of you. And nice to see that the tri-generation, of course, is also picking up around the world. And I see there's one final question, but that's just about the presentations. As I mentioned before already, that the presentations will be made available on the CWC website. So if I can, just a few plugs here in terms of upcoming events for CWC. As you know, we have a branded webinar series called COGEN World Talks, and that was kicked off in mid-2022 with a number of different webinars, including the Global Market Report on Cogeneration. In terms of 2023, we are going to launch our country focus webinars, and then focusing on different countries, members of COGEN World Coalition. And I'm happy to announce, and this is confirmed, that we will have a country focus webinar looking specifically at India on the 19th of July. And India has a large and growing cogeneration market. A lot of the installed capacity is focused on the sugar industry, but there are different opportunities in other industries, as well as the continuing growing sugar industry. So look out for an invite for that in the coming days and week. That'll be an interesting webinar. In the fall, we will have a country focus webinar looking specifically at Japan on the 5th of September. That's confirmed. So also look out for a link to register for that webinar. We're planning to organize another country focus webinar on Germany. Germany is one of the largest cogeneration markets in Europe, at least. And there's been a lot and tremendous support for cogeneration, but there are obviously some challenges that the industry is facing, especially with the energy crisis in Europe. We're looking to organize that in October with the German Cogeneration Association. And to complement what we've discussed already today, so today we were focusing specifically at industrial applications of cogeneration, but we also want to look to district heating and cooling around the world. That'll be one dedicated webinar. And then we will also focus on small commercial, so buildings, hospitals, hotels, and things like that. That will be a dedicated webinar. And fuel cells, which is quite developed in countries like Japan, but also growing in Europe, and there's some interest in North America. So we're looking to organize a specific webinar focusing on fuel cells. And as I mentioned, finally, we plan to have the second global market report on CHP in November. What you see on the screen now is just some of the results from the webinar that took place in November last year. And then finally, as many of you may know, I mean, one of the reasons why CWC was set up was also to be a point of contact, interaction with international agencies like the International Energy Agency, intergovernmental organizations, the UN, the UNFCCC, and of course, the COPs are an important point for us in terms of the discussions and negotiations on international climate change agreements. So COGEN World Coalition plans to be involved in COP28. We will probably organize a side event or a webinar dedicated to the upcoming COP as well. And finally, as our new president, Tom Smith, mentioned, CWC, COGEN World Coalition, is a new organization. It was came to life about 2 years ago. It was officially launched last year, and it's a growing organization. It started out with 10 founding members and has nearly doubled in 2 years. We have both national associations from around the world, but also companies, corporate companies involved in the value chain, from the OEMs and other aspects of the supply chain. So if your company is interested in getting more involved in CWC activities, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to discuss any membership issues. So thank you very much. You have my email below, executive_director@cogenworld.org. So please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. As I mentioned before, today's webinar is being recorded, so that'll be made available online in a couple of days. We need a little bit of time to do some editing, and we'll also make sure that the presentations are available on the CWC website. So thank you again for everyone's attention, and thank you in particular to our speakers. So Alec Marshall from Clark Energy, Roberto Bertelli from AB, and Scott Yappin from Caterpillar. So thank you to all of you, and thank you for your time and your expertise and your insight on cogeneration. And thank you to all the participants. And we're looking forward to inviting you to upcoming webinars, maybe a country-focused webinar or a thematic webinar focusing on different applications of CHP. So with that said, thank you very much, and have a pleasant morning, afternoon, or go to bed. Thank you.